Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Wednesday. It's December the 18th, and what looked like was going to be a typical um, pre-holiday slow kind of day with maybe a slow downward uh, trend here. Uh, we did have a little bit of sell-off later, but what it really turned into when it's FOMC day, and so FOMC day changed everything, and you can see the rally we had afterwards, and I mean, we had a rally, and I didn't mark anything much after about 1 o'clock, but there were some other trades in here. There's a couple here. I started marking some of the ones I saw. Um, One here. You probably would have even won dinner here. I'll go ahead and put these on here. I started putting them on there and never got finished, but I'll go ahead and mark them. Probably won't talk as much about them, but there's an obvious trend up, strong uptrend here, and you can't. Uh, it's what I would call a spike in channel, and I'll show you that here in just a second, and then we'll go back and talk about the other trades. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these. It's so late in the day. But if you were here, prices spiked up. You draw your trend line off those closes on those first two, and there's a couple more trades that came into play. We actually had this short-term trend line, and then we had a break. Um, but it looks more like a spike in a channel with a median line in it, and you just couldn't ignore this trend line. And I mean, all the way up until the close, we followed that trend line. So you could have actually entered on either one of these or either one of these as well. If you were still trading at this time, definitely you had to pay attention to these. So I'm not going to go back and mark them. I'll leave them there for your own use if you want to use them. This is what I was looking at. And there's actually also, I took this off and I meant to put this back on too. There's a little bit of a trend channel working down here too. You might have seen this as a trading range early, but I think there was a, a channel here all along with a median line in it. And but it's obvious that some people saw this other trend coming down through this other channel right here. So, and I think it's more of a minor. I'm going to make it a little bit lighter. I think it's more of a minor channel within a more important channel. But it would have helped you maybe pick out these other couple of trades here. I didn't mark these because they were so close to this low, and I thought on the bigger picture that we were in this channel, and I believe that we were, but I believe we just dropped down probably an equal distance to this right here, and then probably another equal distance, and just draw those in there, and you can see them with your own eyeballs. And they're just two more equal distance moves is basically what they are. I didn't have them on there because I don't want to make the chart too cluttered, but there they are. I'm going to go ahead and remove them. But that's what you would do once you see that prices continue to go over, get a measured move here or measured distance and drop it down, and then once you went lower again. You didn't really want to be in here at 1 o'clock. You got to be aware that FOMC comes out. You got to be aware of these days because this is the kind of stuff that happens, and you get whipsawed either way. Obviously, in the end, at first it looked negative, but then obviously it was digested as positive before the day was over. But this is the kind of thing, the price action still comes into play in these kind of things, and you can see the channel came back into play there. It just became very big and very pronounced, and but I think you're better off to stay out. The first opportunity you really got to enter was maybe right here, but I looked at this as a newer swing low, and this was a failed second entry, and things were kind of getting back to normal. So that was really the first chance you got to have a little bit of time to think about it. If you were aware of what was going on, you might have entered here as well, because it's a failed second entry coming off the very low here first, and then you count that as a new low, and then that's a failed second entry right there as well. So so a couple of different ways to look at it, and of course you should have had this trend line right here, which is what I was looking at. I didn't really have all this in play yet because you couldn't. It was really a little bit more difficult to find that until you had this line, you know, this bounce right here, and then of course these others. So this might have been a little more difficult to find. Um, I circled it in case you did find it. There's actually a couple of legs down here on a bigger picture. But let's talk about, this is what most people were probably looking at early on, and let's talk about that. We had a little double top here. This really looked like a trading range early on. So as the market opened, um, you didn't really want to go long up here because you're at resistance. So just sit tight, and then you see you get a chance to go short. And that's why there's congestion here, and because prices can't go higher. So if you recognize that, you got your first short opportunity there. We came back and tested it again. Notice this is a new low, first entry pullback, second. So there's a second entry short right there. Again, it's right off that trend line. We didn't get any closes outside it. We did break above it, but no closes. So you could have entered there, but when it pulled back and gave you a second entry, you definitely had to enter there. Two easy trades are if you were still in this one, add on. Same thing right here. You make a new low, you pull back, you make a lower high, you come back and you get a double top right there. So a second entry short, counting either way off this high or this low. You're really more interested in counting off the lows. So you count 0 here with a new low, first entry, second entry right there. Second entry short, off to the races. You might have wanted to enter here. I thought it was a little risky entering here because of the overlap and the congestion. You see it did pull back, and you might have entered there. I'm going to go ahead and change that one to green. I didn't like it because you don't know that you're going to get that big move down like that. The odds were it's going to bounce right here, and there's just not much room. So you might enter that being a little aggressive with the idea that, hey, if it does bounce here, I'll exit real quick. But it never does. It just shoots right through there. So if you saw that and you took it, and plus you had to, if you were thinking ahead, you probably had this little trend channel drawn, and you see it came into play even during the news. So you might have seen that, and if you did, you got to pay attention to it. So, and that would have given you another reason to enter right there because it's right off that trend line. And then this was, and I originally had this line down here, and it may still be down here, and we really probably bounced because we came off of those lines. So I still think it's probably down here, and it's really probably actually right here. And there's probably more of a median line in there, and we'll draw that. I was trying not to get this thing too complicated, but you can see that there's another channel there with another median line, and this was kind of the breakthrough, the pull back and retest, and it goes lower again. But the main reason I like that is because it's a failed second entry. Notice the new high here. You made a new high. It's higher than these last couple. So first entry, or you're headed lower, first entry, pull back, second entry, and it fails instantly and turns down. So it's a trap. And we overshot it, so it's like a breakout pullback. You got to be thinking, hey, we're going lower here. And you might have been thinking a measured move from either these two legs or maybe even just that leg. But, you want to come over here and be looking for, I would say that one because you got two swings up. And so you're looking for a measured leg, and that doesn't get it. Let's just see if we get one from here. We still overshot that, but anyway, there's plenty of reasons to enter short here, but mainly because of the trap is the reason I liked it. Usually the trap's always good for at least a scalp, and this one got a lot more. And so, of course, it bounced real quickly there. Once the news hit, it really took off up, then down, then up, and it trended up there the rest of the day. You just had to stay out of there. You don't want to be going long here yet. Because you've had no break of this, but you got the break of this little channel right there, and then down. And it could be really that most people perceive this as a trading range across here, and they looked at this as the channel. I think they're both a channel. I think they're both right. This was the one I was looking at more until this happened. But after this, after all this has happened, looking back at it, maybe this was where the downtrend really started, was right here, because we're kind of sideways until right here. And so I'm thinking some people were looking more at this, and then you see the break there and then the retest with a new low. And so the price action never lies. And sometimes we read it wrong. Am I wrong by reading it this way? I don't think so. But looking at it after the fact, I like it this way even better, and it follows the rules better. So more people tended, I think more of the smarter traders were tending to look at this. And that's not uncommon, because the downtrend we really started making lower lows and lower highs right here. And you can see that. So we don't always have to see it the same way to come to the same conclusions, but hopefully that makes sense to you. And then we started rallying, and really the first opportunity you got to go long off that rally was maybe here, and what I'll do is go ahead and draw that one green, because you really got your first opportunity to go. You just have to stay out of this stuff, and odds are you aren't going to get lucky enough to make any money on these moves here. You're going to probably get it wrong. You're going to get whipsawed. So wait for it to kind of come back to normal. You can see the bars getting back to more normal size. It's still a little bit emotional here, but not nearly what it was over here. The market's had, 4 or 5 minutes here to slow down a little bit. Still a little bit aggressive here, but when you got this little trap right here, I think you had to take that. And then, now we're getting back to more normal size bars. And you get another bounce off this is a breakout pullback long right here. Notice that we had these highs across here. We broke out, we pulled back. It's a retest of that trend line. It turns up, so I like that one. And that was pretty much all I really was going to mark. But I played around with it and looked at it, and so I might as well, because it's a really good trading day now. I'll be honest with you, I was done before this came out, and I didn't trade any of this, so I'm looking at all this part really after the fact. But looking at it, I mean, I did have this trend line going up here, but I was wrapping things up, and I didn't watch all of this. I didn't stay around for it. I was pretty much done here. I just watched the news come out, and then I left. So, but it's obvious this was all here, and you can see it plain as day, and there's more entries up through here. It's getting late in the day, but on a day like this, I mean, you just about have to take all of these trades if you're still trading. And they're just all the way up through here, right off this trend line. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this, and I almost wish I'd have stayed around, to be honest with you. But this is a great, there's a lot of entries in there, and you can see them. They're all right off that trend line. So if you can find this trend line, it's maybe a little harder to find this channel without some experience, but you shouldn't have had that much trouble finding this trend line, because it comes right off those first few closes. It looked a little tricky here because it shot lower, but just, and you might have adjusted it then and moved it down a little bit, but you still found all these other trades. You may not have found this one or this one, but usually they're you find a lot of them off the closes like that, and it was a little bit tricky right there, but you have to kind of adjust it and see where it fits on the top. And you can see that one's fitting right up there through the top, and it's kind of holding prices. We overshot it a few times, but that's when you got to realize, hey, there's probably a median line in there, which is just kind of a midpoint that's right through the middle of the prices, and you can see that. And so that's what I saw today. Not much else you can say about it. It was a really good, I mean, this move here dwarfs this right here, and I felt this was some pretty good price action this morning compared to what we did have. But you can just see this right here dwarfs this, makes this almost look flat here, and you can see it was a beautiful day. And man, I kind of wish I'd stayed around and got some of it. So but I hope if you were trading, you got your part of it. If you weren't, hopefully you enjoyed your day off like my afternoon like me. So But anyway, not much else to say about today. It's FOM News Day, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. This part right here, oops, be smart and stay away. That's about the best way I can put it, because it's, obviously if you can catch it, it's a great move, but if you're on the wrong side, you can see you can get burned in a hurry. So just stay out of this. I usually get out, I don't take any new trades probably within 30 minutes of it, 45 minutes, but I may have a runner going that I might manage right up until 5 or 10 minutes before, but by that time I'm exiting, because you can see if I was short here, I got burned, and if I was long here, I got burned. You might have got a quick scalp and gotten out, but you don't really, this stuff moves really, really quickly. And just to give you an example, it started probably right in these two bars, right before the 1 o'clock. It shot up. So 1 o'clock, and here we are at 102. So all of that price movement right from this bar right here to this bar right here happened in less than 3 minutes. I mean, that is a lot of movement, where normally that might take, it might take 3 hours or more, or all day for that matter. I mean, we've had days where we didn't have that much distance between low and high in one day lately. So, be aware of that and stay out of this. And other than that, we don't care about the news. We don't care what the news says, because there's no way to, I don't care what anybody, I could give you, literally, I could give you the FOMC announcement yesterday, and it wouldn't make any difference. You wouldn't be able to know it. It doesn't tell you anything. Sure, they came out, rates are going to stay at, they're going to be 0.25%. That's what they tell you. That's what comes out, but it doesn't do you any good, because you don't know what that's going to mean to the market. Really, really bullish news can send the market selling off, and really, really bearish news can send the market skyrocketing upwards. So forget it. Don't try to trade the news. I know that there's some systems out there that actually even, that's the way they make their money, trading the news, and I just think I don't know how you can make any money at that. I mean, so, it takes off up, yeah, maybe it turns down, but how you know it's not going to turn down like that and turn back up? I just don't think I don't think you can make any money long term. I think it's a gamble that if you get right, you can make some good money. But you can't hardly get it right, because it will whipsaw in both directions and wipe out all the stops on either side, and then kind of settle into a trend one way or the other, or it might just settle into a range and do nothing. So don't try to trade that stuff. Just be out before the news starts and wait for it to kind of get back to normal size bars, and which kind of started right in here. And you can see the bars kind of got back. It's still a good trend, but the bars are more normal like earlier in the day, and you don't have this huge movement and stuff here. So, but anyway, I've talked enough today. Back out one more time and give you one more look at it. There it is. And like I said, this dwarfs, which this was looking pretty good earlier today, especially this channel down, the steeper one. But this just dwarfs it. So, but I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.